Dyslexic genius here. What I'm going to talk about is rebuilding the phonograph motor, and this is a 1902 Victor E, which is 123 years old or so. And through their lives, they very rarely get oiled or checked. And I'm going to go through how you look at a motor like this E and what's going on. And this is going to be passed down to Charlie one day. The first thing we look at is that you can see here the screws have been flared out from the wrong screwdriver, like somebody's been in here. The leather right here that goes into the braking system, when a brake is gone, it has to be done. The other problem is Uncle Bubba's been in on this, and this pin is bent a little because it should be the cross. This has to go this way, but this part of it's bent, so you have to put a new one in.
It also looks like it's got
burr marks on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got dings. Somebody's beat on this because this, I talk about the cross on the spindle shaft because it has to be half and half on each side because the spindle shaft comes in here like that and the two pins rest in these two slots to hold the turntable in place. So if one is bent a little, then you're going to have this, and then you're going to have to play a whole lot of time trying to level the turntable. Now we go to the motor, which are very nice, but it creates a huge problem. They use a lot of brass on these early Victors. This gear's brass, this gear's brass, the spring barrels are brass. And then we have a brass gear here. And then we have the governor drive gear right here is brass, but the gear itself over here that runs off the spindle shaft and stuff is steel. So we have brass on steel a lot, which wears horribly. Yes, it has a lot of oil. But I have a little tension on it to show you. If you wind it all the way up, it'll run through this problem, but we have to find out there's a problem. If you click the governor, you hear that wobble, wobble from the sound. Now if I stop it, now it's stopped. And I played with it a lot. It always stops with that screw right here. So there's a warp or there's a bad gear that's causing it to catch. If the motor's cranked all the way up, you have all the power of the springs. It'll run, but it's driving through something that's slowing it down or stopping. That whoop noise is causing it to do. Then you get in, we have the ratchet here and the gear, the paw and the ratchet. And you see all these serrated edges on this gear. This gear is shot, you have to replace this gear. And also they're very thin here. You could go, yeah, oh, that'll work. No, down the road, that thing's going to just come unshucked on you because they made all these brass gears out of very, very soft brass, the cheapest stuff they could find back then. And these are just some of the problems that go on. But the whoop noise, you have to come in and figure it out. So what you have to do on a motor, like something like this is, you're going to have to take the whole thing apart. You don't have to repack the spring barrels yet, but you have to take the whole thing apart, clean everything, oil it, and put it back together and see what it does. And now if it still makes that whoop sound, now we have to go chase down the whoop sound. And my guess is probably it's in this gear right here that's causing the problem. Because this brass gear runs against that steel gear right there. The steel gear is not going to wear out because the steel is harder than the brass. It's going to just dig into this gear. These are noisy motors, but you can make them a lot quieter.
Can you spin that thing again? I can see it.
You hear how it spins up and then it makes a microsecond stop. Yep, and there's the gear. It will always stop on that. Very interesting, but it's going to take a lot of work to do it. And trust me, I do we do the videos, but I don't show you that. Oh, well, I had to take it all back apart again to fix something for it. And that's what it takes. You have to look deeply at the gears, you know, especially this gear here. You see the gear, and you see that tooth, right? I'll give it a screwdriver. You see that? You see the top of that gear teeth? Then you come down and, ooh, that one's thinner. Ooh, and that one's thinner. Ooh, and that one's thinner. So that means this fat one up here has had a ding on it on the winding crank. So you have to go all the way through that whole gear, and you might have to come in here. And I have videos on how you have to clean that gear up, right? So you always look at the top of the gear right here, that piece right there. And then you go, oh, are they worn out? We're looking good, but that one looks fatter than this one. Okay, and you have to say, why is that one look fatter than this one? That one looks like it's been hit with something. And you have to go through all the teeth. You get down over here. Let's see if we can do this. Here, whoop, whoop, whoop. Now they're all looking the same. But back over here, we have a flattened out one. We have to fix that. And on these Victors like this, that's what it takes. And that's my tip for the day.